What is up, my friends? Good afternoon. You are all very welcome to the show. Laser sharp straight in with the super chat. Love this tune. Woo! Do you know what? I must listen back to it. It's been a while because we've had that music licensed for a long time. It's just been sitting there doing nothing, so I can't even remember what it actually sounds like because I can't hear it at my end. So, my friends, we've quite a bit to get through and lots of positive updates today regarding player availability and stuff, so strap yourselves in for a bit of a good news fest. Good afternoon, Sarah, and everybody else that's in the chat. Just a reminder tonight, guys, there won't be a live show because we're going to be on top of the league for the watch along in Middlesbrough Chelsea from 7:30, so join us for that one. Love the jam. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I didn't write it. I don't know why I'm saying thank you. It's nothing to do with me, but we did buy it, so therefore I guess it's okay. So look, loads to go through. The PGMOL are at it again. Oh, they're at it again. And I'll give you that bad news in a while. We'll be talking about the update from Pep Linders around Curtis Jones, Dominic Szoboszlai, Trent Alexander-Arnold as well. We'll be talking about the ESPN VAR table and where Liverpool are placed in these decisions. Have Liverpool benefited the most, as lots of opposition fans seem to think? Or are they deluded and does the reality show something different? So, yes, let's go through it all. What position is Koopmeiners? He's a midfielder, mate. A midfielder. Atalanta midfielder. I think if my memory's right, he's 25 years of age. And he's a name that Liverpool have been linked with over the past few days. And actually, do you know what? It's gone longer than that. I'd say probably since the summer. Hello to everybody else in the chat who's coming in. Nice to see you all. Ryan said, hurry. Mate, I have to do what I have to do. I get on as soon as I can, I promise you. Right, look. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a massive game coming up next Wednesday, as you may know, against Chelsea. I'm not going to call it... I'm not going to say that our title depends on it, but it's a big game, and if we can get the victory, it would be very much appreciated and do a good job for us in this quest to lift that league title. So in comes the PGMOL and says, hey guys, you know what? We've got just the man. We've got just the man to put in the centre of that pitch for your game against Chelsea next Wednesday. And that man goes by the name of... Paul Tierney. And I'm not even joking. So, the official list has been given out. Paul Tierney is going to be a referee. James Mainwaring and Scott Ledger are going to be his assistants. Andy Madley is going to be on VAR. Andy Madley's the fourth official. John Brooks is on VAR and his assistant is Shian Massey-Ellis. And the only person on that list that I have any belief in is Shian Massey-Ellis because she's actually good at her job. So other than that, I'm not overly happy. That's an understatement. To say I'm not overly happy is an understatement. To say it's a disgrace is probably closer to the truth. So we come straight off the back of two contentious decisions, both involving Tierney on VAR, and the PGMOL, they're laughing at us. It's not a joke. They must be actually laughing at us. Because I feel like, do you remember when Mourinho was at United and he was at the end of his tether and it wasn't working out and it was clear that he was going to be going? It was almost like he was daring the officials at United to sack him. I feel like this is what the PGMOL is doing now to Liverpool. Almost like saying, we can do what we want and there's nothing you can do about it. We can do what we want and you're just going to have to suck it up, buttercup. So, it's weird. It's so weird. Like, he referees way more than he should be doing for our games. It's disgusting. Look, the only upside, I guess, is that it's at Anfield. So, if there is an upside, it'll be that, well, at least Anfield will be able to G up the boys and get behind them should Tierney and his band of PGMOL people screw us over. But look, let's wait and see what happens there. Look, better having him as the referee, I think, than the VAR. But ultimately, I know and you know that even if the VAR does their job and Andy Madley said, Paul, I think you need to go to the monitor and look at something, we know Mr. Tierney will find a subjective way to go down on the side of it not benefiting us. So there we go. And I think we need to get loud about this. I think we as fans now really need to start pushing this on social media. We really need to start letting the PGMOL and the Premier League know that this is getting beyond the joke. That why don't they just come out and say they don't want us to win the league? Just say it. Just come out and say we're going to do everything we can to make sure that you don't win the league and that those who are potentially cheating benefit from it. Oh, and by the way, while we're talking about that, shall we take a little look at the ESPN VAR table for this season so far? Interesting reading. Colin said, hey man, hope you're well. Currently in Madrid for my friend's funeral. That's why I've been away. Sadly committed suicide. Sorry to hear that, mate. Yeah, I'm sorry. I hope you are okay and everybody with you is okay. But horrible, mate. I'm so sorry to hear that. So to move on, and again, Colin, I don't mean to be glossing over that, mate. Sorry, but I don't know what else to say, in all honesty. Our thoughts are definitely with you, and that's way, way too young. Man, I'm sorry. So, the ESPN Boffins have had a look at the VAR table now for the Premier League. Here's the ultimate guide. So, who do you think is bottom of the VAR table for decisions for the VAR net score? So, if a decision goes for you, you're in the plus column. If a decision goes against you, you're in the minus column. So who do you think's bottom of the list? You don't have to guess very much. It's us. It's Liverpool with -3 VAR score. So we've had 3 decisions that we should have got go against us overall. So we're -3 on the VAR list. So we're not even getting the decisions we're supposed to get on VAR. Because if you did and you were level, that score would be 0. So we're -3. Who's top of the list? Well, it's Forest, surprisingly enough. But who's the top of the list of the big teams? You won't be surprised to learn. The biggest team of the top 5 or 6 is Manchester City with +2 decisions. Chelsea also +2 on the decisions. Both those clubs getting 2 decisions they probably should not have got, or at least weren't on the... they're getting more positive outcomes from VAR than we are. So, colour me surprised. Manchester United, by the way, well, they're almost as low down as us on the list. They're -2 for decisions. So their net score, -2. Our net score, -3. Chelsea, Man City, +2. Fulham, +3. Brentford, +2. Newcastle, +1. Where's Arsenal on this? Arsenal, -1. To be fair to Arsenal, they're also in the minus list here. Aston Villa, -2. Manchester United, -2. Wolves, -2. The ones who are kind of level pegging are Tottenham, Luton, Everton and Bournemouth, who all have a net score of 0 on the VAR table. So you add this into Tierney refereeing games again, into the obvious decisions that have gone against us this season, and then you look and see Manchester City with +2 on this VAR table, and you're asking yourself, interesting that, isn't it? Interesting that everything that we believe is happening to us is being played out in statistics, but we're still just, deluded or victims or any other trope and lazy thing that people want to throw at Liverpool fans. Hard when these things are backed up with some data, isn't it? So when you know you're being shafted and the numbers show you're being shafted and the numbers show you exactly who is shafting you, and then they just keep wheeling out Paul Tierney over and over again and expect us to do nothing, to not react. Something needs to happen, because I don't want to lose another league title over not being a good team. It's nothing to do with the football. I want a level playing field. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll let you digest that. Well, we move on to talk around... where's this one? Sorry, I'm trying to get my information up on this. Bear with me. Pep Lijnders, in his press conference, talking about Curtis Jones, this is what Pep Lijnders had to say. When you play more games and when you're consistently in the team for a long time, you get some niggles. He reported this week some tension in his hamstring, but yesterday, no issues, and during the game, it was more precautionary. So the good news there is no long-term injury that anybody's aware of to worry about for him. He was talking about Dominic Szoboszlai, and this is what he said about Dom. He said, Dom trained yesterday with us, just a small-sided game, but he played good, felt good, did some extra work with the sports science team. He's ready for tomorrow, or excuse me, he is ready, but tomorrow comes too early for him, so it'll be the weekend if nothing goes wrong. So that's where we're at with regards to Szoboszlai, that's where we're at with regards to Jones. Now, James Pearce tweeted and he said Trent Alexander-Arnold will be back in team training later this week. Both him and Szoboszlai should be back for the FA Cup tie versus Norwich on Sunday. Andy Robertson has also been cleared to resume contact training. So the good news is starting to come in now. The injuries are starting to clear up. We're very close to getting 3 or 4 key players back. And hopefully that will help us and help Jurgen and the boys keep this run going. So the good news is the injury crisis is coming to a bit of a close. The bad news is there are still some players we don't know about. Thiago, Bajcetic, don't know any return dates there yet. But look, ultimately having Trent back, Robbo back, Szoboszlai back and Jones uninjured is a big bonus. Especially if Curtis Jones is able to play tomorrow. That'll be great news. Obviously I've already put out my preview. And when I put out the preview, I erred on the side of caution that Curtis Jones wasn't going to be available. But if he plays, brilliant. He plays. So that's good news. A little bit from the Egyptian team doctor around Mohamed Salah and the situation there. He said, Salah didn't want to travel and leave the team. Salah suffers from stress in the second phase. I will not wait for someone to tell me how to do my job. We discussed this with Liverpool and we agreed that we will share it with the fans after the game. But Jurgen said it himself. Salah did not want to leave. I don't know really what to read into all of that other than cool. You know, as long as Mo's nothing new with the injury concerns popping up there, then that's good news. Craig, did you say Trent back as well? I did. Trent will be back for the weekend for the FA Cup game, the way things are looking. I'll read through just so you didn't hear the Trent part. He said Trent will be back in team training this week. Both him and Dominic Szoboszlai back for the FA Cup tie against Norwich on Sunday, and Andy Robertson is cleared to resume contact training. And that was James Pearce that put that one out. So, yeah, there we are. Some good news on that. So, I'm going to make a short on this later on, but there's a post come out, and it's on Transfer Sector, and it says, there is a feeling that if Manchester City were to be found guilty of the most serious of the alleged rule breaches and relegated, Pep Guardiola would simply sign a new deal purely out of defiance. Who do they think they're kidding? Let's get this straight. Guardiola made a song and dance about proclaiming the club was innocent. And if they're found guilty and proven guilty, he can be as defiant as he wants. There isn't a chance in hell, zero, that he goes down and manages in whatever league Manchester City get relegated to. Zero. And there isn't a chance in hell that Manchester City are going to be able to keep all of their top stars and stay within FFP if he gets relegated. Zero. And also, how are they going to afford to pay Guardiola's salary? I don't know who these lads think they're kidding, but it's not the rest of us who actually live in reality. 1 minute he was declaring that the club told them it was innocent and they were innocent. And they were innocent, that was the end of it. Nothing to see, they were innocent. So now if they get found guilty, they're defiantly going to sign a new deal. I don't give a shit. As long as you're proved to be the cheating scumbags we all believe you to be, you can do whatever the hell you want, Guardiola. But everything you talk about will be tainted. Everything that you want to say you've achieved at Manchester City, all of us will immediately go, sorry, couldn't hear you over the cheating, Pep. Could you say that again, mate? That cheating was really drowning out the sound of whatever rumblings you're going on about. Couldn't hear you, pal, over the cheating. Have I mentioned the cheating? So yeah, you can do what you want, say what you want, lie about what you want. At the end of the day, we're just waiting for the outcome. That's it. What Guardiola and City do after that, I really couldn't give a damn about. As long as they have proved to being what we all think they are, cool. If they want to be defiant and edgy, I don't give a shit. I'm sure you guys are probably similar in not caring if he signs a new deal or not, because ultimately I don't know who they're trying to fool or cod. Anyway. Right, so article coming out of Portugal again today, and it's around the situation with Gonçalo Inácio. So Record, who are an outlet in Portugal, are saying, of course, that Liverpool are indeed interested in Inácio, but they're also saying that keep an eye on Ousmane Diomande, the other centre back, as somebody who Liverpool are looking at as well. So yeah, they say Sporting are preparing for the departure of both players and have combined release clauses of about £120 million and are now expecting to receive tempting offers. So just to clear it up, the release clause for Diamande, I think it's about €80 million, and the release clause for Inácio €60 million. So about £120 million all in. If somebody wants to pay one or both of those release clauses, so keep an eye on that one. Again, there's been more talk coming out of Italy about Koopmeiners. Tutto Atalanta said that Liverpool are keeping an eye on the 25-year-old, as well as a number of clubs who are looking at him. Calcio Mercato claimed that Liverpool were amongst a host of clubs who want Koopmeiners, who plays with Virgil van Dijk in the Dutch national team, and other clubs include Newcastle, Napoli and Juventus. They say, then, would you like to see Koopmeiners at Liverpool? So that's it's just more media speculation, but at this point, I think everyone's getting a little bit desperate because there's very little chance of much business being done by the looks of it in January anywhere. So maybe this is just looking towards the summer window. I don't know. What else has popped up here? So Antonio Rudiger is piling the pressure on Real Madrid for a new deal and is flirting with a move to Liverpool in the bid to facilitate it. Here's the thing, Rudiger. I don't want you at Liverpool, mate. So you can flirt all you want. I don't think we want the Chelsea, Real Madrid lads to come across and play for Liverpool. So you just concentrate on getting that deal, Mr. Rudiger, because you won't be coming to Liverpool, pal. I don't get this, how this isn't being called out. So he's flirting with Liverpool. No, he's just using us as bait. It's very weird. Flirting with. Okay, I'm flirting with Mila Kunis right now. You know, I'm flirting with leaving my wife for Mila Kunis, but, you know, ultimately I don't know. I'll have to see what my wife does to keep me. I'll have to see what she does, you know. West Ham have reached an agreement with Manchester City over the loan signing of Calvin Phillips with no option to buy. This report from David Ornstein says the personal terms are fine and that West Ham will be covering his full wage as he goes there on loan for the remainder of the campaign. So, yeah, that's pretty much where we're up to with the transfers and the latest news around Liverpool. So, can we fly down to Lisbon to take Inácio to Liverpool? I mean, get me in there with the Sporting Lisbon hierarchy. I'll get that deal hammered out. We won't be paying the release clause. You're welcome. Can we talk about Sepp van den Berg, who's going well under the radar? Why? What do you want to talk about? Sepp van den Berg's playing with Mainz, playing well in Germany. I don't think there's really much else we can add to the conversation. I don't mean that rudely. I mean, I don't really know what to say or what angle to go with. Yes, he is somebody that I've said for quite a while I think will maybe one of the few people to go out on loan that could actually have a future at Liverpool, you know. But I haven't really got much of a read on what the exact plan is for Sepp van den Berg, you know. I truly don't know, mate. I'd like to think that he will at least be brought back in pre-season and looked at again, and maybe a decision then made towards the latter part of the summer about what best to do with Sepp van den Berg, whether he stays with the first team for next season or whether, you know, he goes out on loan again or a potential sale. I honestly don't know, but you are right in saying he's doing pretty good at Mainz, and that's kind of where I'm at. That's all I really know. Been really impressed with Bradley when he's had to step in for Trent, said Craig's Apple Crumble. Yes, he's been really good. I told you there was a player in there. But I just hope now for Conor Bradley's sake he can keep fit and that we can keep chugging on until the end of the season with him dipping in and out as needs be as cover for Trent or to rotate in for games or whatever Klopp and the team need him for, in all honesty. Hope you're well, mate. Sorry I'm late. I was on my PS5. Well, hope you enjoyed yourself, Keane. Yeah, I must be one of the few men in the world who don't really spend much time playing computer games. it was always something I was kind of half-arsed about, even as a teenager. Like, I play a little bit of FIFA and stuff, but it never really did it for me. I was never really one for wanting to just sit in front of the computer. He says sitting in front of the computer now every day for his livelihood. Pep would be crap at Liverpool. Why are we even having that conversation? Of course he'd be crap at Liverpool, because he wouldn't have an endless checkbook. Look at every job Guardiola's taken in management. Every single one of them are set up for him to succeed as soon as he walks in the door. Barcelona, you've got the greatest player to maybe ever grace a football pitch, and that an absolutely ridiculous group of players there. Then at Bayern Munich, he's walking into a team that, let's be honest, most of us could win the league with. And then he goes to Manchester City, where he's got never-ending supply of cash and a never-ending supply of ways to not answer simple questions about what's going on at Manchester City. And do you know what's going to happen? They're giving it all the Billy Big Bollocks. They're giving it all they're fighting new contracts. All he'll do is play the victim. Like, oh, I didn't know. The wool was pulled over my eyes. My club. I didn't know. Oh, brand Pep. No, this is one of those situations where you've made your bed. If you're found guilty, I'm going to make sure, and most of us football fans are going to make sure that you're reminded about your bed every time you try to get into your bed, that you've made your bed, you've laid your cards on the table, you've challenged the rest of the world to come and prove City are guilty, and when they're found guilty of the charges that they will, in my opinion, hopefully be found guilty of, you don't get to just put your hands up in the air and pull a Jordan Henderson and have a new set of morals. You made your bed. Phillips is a great signing for the Hammers. So I can't help but feel that the Abu Dhabi, Saudi ownership of both the clubs is maybe what stopped Newcastle getting the loan of Calvin Phillips. Because let's be honest, they're probably the team right now that most need a player in the Calvin Phillips mould in their team because of Tonali and a few other situations. So it was interesting to hear Newcastle and Eddie Howe come out and say that they don't have many friends. Was that the word that he used? In the loan market. It's almost like, I don't know, other clubs that want to just strengthen their opposition and give them a chance to come back up the league table. It's weird that they're not all friends like that. These competitive football clubs who are running multi-billion-pound operations don't want to help out the other people who are trying to take the Champions League places. Surprise, surprise there. I think Pep will go to Italy after City. I tell you what I think he'll do. I think he'll be repurposed in the Manchester City brand or the City brand of clubs. And I think he may MLSify himself. I think you might see him over in the MLS taking care of the New York City side of that. Or, picture this. Bring him to Inter Miami. Where, you know, if the band are still back together, if the Messis of this world and the Alabas and the Busquets and the Suarez and the, you know, those players are still over there, maybe that's an attractive proposition for him to really, if the MLS want to keep pushing the brand of MLS and keep growing the league, maybe that's, or maybe he'd just go straight to Saudi, you know, and takes the Saudi money. He'll manage the Spanish national team. Do you know anything about Pep Guardiola? There's more chance of me managing the Spanish national team than somebody who was very proud Catalonian coming in and managing the Spanish national team, mate. Ain't gonna happen. He'd have fucking zero interest in managing the Spanish national team. Not a chance he'd manage the Spanish national team. None. Zero. Come on now. This isn't like Mourinho and others. There's bigger underlying political reasons why that wasn't going to happen. Just have a little read up on it. Pep would definitely draw Euro fans and spectators. Oh, 100% he would. 100%. Like, it would be a great move for the MLS. You know, bringing in one of the most high-profile coaches in the world. Why was Sarah's post deleted? Can somebody stop deleting Sarah's post? I mean, I'm not seeing a good reason why they're being deleted. Okay, yes, she posted the same comment, but I wouldn't say it's spamming exactly. Bit more leeway or a few warnings, perhaps. Where will Klopp go after Liverpool? I don't know. You know, you could definitely talk about potentially the German job, but I don't know. Whether he'll take a break or what the story will be there. Pep to Brazil. There was spoken about. Pep was spoken about with Brazil. Ancelotti was spoken about with Brazil. But haven't they just appointed a new manager? Is it the Santos manager, or it was one of the Brazilian club managers, I think, are after getting the Brazilian national team job. And I don't think Pep would take that job because, in all honesty, it's not. They aren't the strongest that they've ever been, Brazil. And unless it's guaranteed that Pep's going to win, I don't see him taking any job, let alone the Brazilian job, because they're just not as strong as they have been in recent years. He'll go to Real Madrid. If you're talking about Klopp, not a hope he goes to Madrid. Do you know anything about the manager that manages your club? Like, look into Jurgen Klopp's philosophy on life, his belief system, and then talk about why you think he'd go to Real Madrid. It's not a Klopp type job. Atletico would be more of a Klopp type of job, in my opinion. That just below the two big boys. Oh, you meant Pep? Oh, there's more chance of me going to Real Madrid than Pep, mate. That's just silliness. Of course he's not going to Real Madrid. He'd be disowned in the part of the world that he cares about the most. Klopp will sign a new contract with Liverpool, said John. I hope so, John. Dude, that would be amazing. It really would. That's every day I hope that happens. Klopp loves long-term projects, growing from the start. 100%. So, yeah, he loves that slight underdog, but still with a decent chance kind of mentality. Like, look at the history of the clubs he's been at so far. After Mainz. He's gone to Dortmund, obviously did well there. Come to Liverpool, doing really well with us. I would imagine if he ever does move again, it'll be probably a club right on the edge of the top, who he thinks he can add value to and coach improvements in. He's never really been a checkbook manager like the Mourinhos of this world, the Contes of this world, the Pep Guardiolas of this world. Martin said, former City financial advisor says Pep will find it almost impossible, they will find it almost impossible to prove the charges. Interestingly, he didn't say they're not guilty. So, let me rephrase that for you, Martin. Ice cream seller says that there's going to be a rush on ice cream. Because that's basically what you're saying there. Former employee of club who is under investigation said Prem will find it very hard. Now, I've seen, actually, weirdly enough, some of the interview you're talking about. It was with Simon Jordan and Jim White on TalkSport. And I don't know what else you expected them to say. That's all I've got. He's hardly going to come out and go on TalkSport and go, oh yeah, absolutely, riddled with guilt, and they're 100% going to be found out. I mean, sometimes, this is why TalkSport exists, by the way, for lowest common denominator, stating the bleeding obvious nonsense. I don't know I genuinely don't know why anybody watches it. It baffles me because I just find the whole thing bait, all of it. And when you don't have that, you've got Simon Jordan pompously interrupting everybody who has an opinion because he thinks his opinion is more important and he can't get the words out of his mouth quick enough to interrupt people. I it's never understood. I just find the whole thing arrogant and clickbaity and bullshit. And also, it never worked for them, never worked near them. I've turned down a couple of opportunities to do a few bits over the years. It just doesn't interest me at all. Random change of topic, but what's for dinner? Do you know what? Honestly, I'm going ham and cheese toasties tonight. I'm feeling one of those comfort food days. So yeah, ham and cheese toasties. Who's back from injury? So Rami, we got an update today, buddy, and it's pretty good news. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Dominic Szoboszlai will be back for the weekend against Norwich in the FA Cup. Pep Linder said that it could be closed for Szoboszlai for tomorrow, but if not tomorrow, 100% Norwich. Andy Robertson has been cleared to resume contact training. And Curtis Jones, it isn't really an injury. It was more he felt something. The club were being cautionary and he's okay. So, pretty good news today, actually, in all honesty, on that front, which is great to say. Let's be honest, Szoboszlai will have 3-4 good games. Trent will have 3-4 good games. That'll only be enough to secure the league. I don't get what you're saying there, David. Let's be honest, if Szoboszlai will have 3 or 4 good games and Trent will have 3 or 4 good games, that only would be enough to secure... What? It doesn't matter who has good games, dude. If Liverpool win games of football, that'll be enough to win the league. It doesn't matter who plays well, who scores, who doesn't. It's the team. It's all about the team. And one thing we got to give Jurgen credit for is how he's been able to do all these changes and still grind out the results. There was a nice piece actually on The Athletic about Jurgen Klopp's genius, pretty much. What's this? What did I want to remind myself of here? All right, I've got something else that annoys me. Sorry, I forgot this. I took a note of this last night, so bear with me while I get ready to read it. So, Paul Merson, the gift that keeps on giving, the genius, the magic man, any other name you would like to throw into the hat, feel free. So he was doing his latest article for Sky, and this is what he had to say. Let me just break it down for you. So he was talking about the title race, and he was talking about Liverpool at first, and he said they go to Arsenal away, and if it goes like the FA Cup game, no, let me go back again. He said they play Chelsea at home. You've no idea which Chelsea is going to turn up. They can play that, so that's a hard game. He's talking about our next 2 league matches. Then he says, then they go to Arsenal away, and if that goes like the way, because that's the way he speaks, the FA Cup game went, then Arsenal will win that game. Before you know it, it's all over for Liverpool. So, just context here. If we lost to Chelsea and lost to Arsenal, Merce says it's all over for Liverpool, right? So let's just remember that part before I read out the next part. In the very next breath, I think Arsenal are still in the race. They had a big result the other day and they're still there and thereabouts, so you have to put them in the equation. So let's do a little bit of maths for a second. So Liverpool don't pick up any points in the next 2 league games and Arsenal win theirs. Puts them 1 point, I believe, above Liverpool. And they're in the race, but we're out of the race. So, Arsenal have beaten somebody, and they're absolutely fine. We could drop some points to Chelsea and Arsenal, and all of a sudden we're out of the race? How does that work, Paul? How do Arsenal get to still be in the race, and us a point behind or somehow out of the race, in that worst case scenario picture you've painted there? Did you go to the Gary Neville School of Stupidity for talking absolute bollocks? How do people not call them out on this? Does an editor not look at this and go, Merce, that makes no sense, dude. You're saying in one breath, if Liverpool, let's look at it like this. Liverpool drew with Chelsea and lose to Arsenal. So we gain 1 point from the next 6. Arsenal win their games. So we're level on points, but they're in the race and we're out of it. Is that what you're saying? And we've already played Arsenal away, Chelsea away, City away, Brighton away, Newcastle away, Spurs away, but we're out of the race. Gotcha. Genius. Thank you for that punditry. I'm so glad now I pay my Sky bill to make sure that you get that well-paid job you deserve, Paul Merson, because heaven knows, mate, that insight is fucking genius. Creme de la creme stuff, Paul. Keep it up. Would you take Messi as a manager in the future? Probably not. But does anybody else understand that? Like, it's delusional shit. I am getting told, and you are getting told, what's going to happen by idiots. Don't put the Mersons, the Redknaps, all these stupidity fucking feast merchants on the TV if nobody's going to just call them out on their stupidity? How can you... It doesn't make sense. And we're supposed to be the irrational ones. The football fans. But these are the professionals, the pundits. Fuck me. Put me on to host a couple of these shows. And when this shit comes out of somebody's mouth, I'll push back on it. Because apparently nobody else is able to. Oh my God. Why? And these guys are getting paid a lot more than you in your life. A lot more than me. For what? Because he kicked the football before. He played the game, therefore we have to be subjected to his stupidity forever. Is that... And I don't... It's really starting to get under my skin. As you can probably tell. So we had Gary Neville saying that Spurs are going to be title challengers or finish above Liverpool or Arsenal. I can barely see them down the table. The bookies don't even have odds on them winning the league. But again, so we've got that pundit telling us that Spurs are ready, they're primed. And then we have Mr. Genius Magic Man Merson telling us that even though the maths doesn't in any way back up what he's saying, that his ramblings are suddenly to be taken seriously as well. Fuck me. I was looking at the description of one of the Monday Night Football games, and it was world-class commentary from Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher. They can produce top-notch commentary. To be fair, like I've said this about Neville a lot. If Neville shut up and just stuck to analysing football properly with Jamie, they're brilliant. I'm not here to just hate on people for the sake of it. Gary Neville has the ability to be a fantastic pundit. So does Jamie Carragher. But there are some people you just think, how are they still in a job? Like, I don't understand why I'm being subjected to it. I deserve better as a paying customer. You deserve better. Paul Tierney's the ref for a game against Chelsea. Unfortunately, I'm aware of that, my man. Craig Fairbrother. It's almost like they're taunting us, buddy, isn't it? You know. Yeah, no. I know we shafted you last weekend, but don't worry about it. We got you, lads. We got you. We got Tierney ready here, primed for that big game against Chelsea. Still some tricky games ahead. Definitely. Like, he wasn't wrong about that week, Merson, about it being a really difficult week for us. No argument on that. You know, we do have a pretty hectic, 72 hours there. Played Chelsea, no, maybe a bit longer than that actually. Played Chelsea on the Wednesday, and then we've got Arsenal at the weekend. That is a big week. That is. If we can come through that with 4 to 6 points, again, I'd take that as a result. You know, you want 6, but I'm being realistic. Going to the Emirates, I know we won there in the FA Cup, but it's going to be a difficult game. It is. And I don't really care what Chelsea show up. My honest view is I would hope that we would beat them at Anfield. No matter how they play, how well they play, at home, with the way we're playing and the way our defence is at the minute, you'd be hopeful we'd get the result against Chelsea. But it's the Premier League, so you got to earn it. But yeah, that's a big week, definitely. And also with the I don't know what this is, but by the way, maybe if I do that, it'll come to me. Yeah, so the game, it came to me, it's magic. At the weekend, the game against Norwich is definitely where I'd be looking to rest and rotate a few. So I'd be looking to give Verge a breather there. Bring in Jarell Kwanzaa, Owen Beck maybe at left back if needs be. Because you would hope that we could put out a somewhat weakened team and and beat Norwich. Sorry, I distracted myself. I'm going to the Liverpool match against Chelsea. I'll have my eyes on Tierney. Do you want to have the fucking binoculars out, Rachel? If you're up in the top of the main stand. Do, Rachel. Do. And let him know he's ugly bald as well, Rachel. It's really important for me. Can you bring a sign to say, Tierney, you're ugly bald. Stop ruining it for the rest of them. What do you think of next season's Champions League format? I still don't really fully understand it, if I'm being honest, mate. Like, I get the gist of what it is, but I don't understand how their algorithm's going to work, and I don't understand how the seeding system's going to work, and I don't understand how you get to pick who plays what team and why you'll get some teams at home versus some teams away, and how they're able to quantify if anyone's gaining an advantage from playing a particular team at home versus maybe another team. The whole thing seems just very overly complicated to me. Like, as an example, normal Champions League, you've got 3 home games, 3 away games. So with the 8 group stage games now, every single one of those are going to be against different teams. 4 of them are home, 4 of them away. So is there some type of metric in to look at the results of these clubs at home in the recent history to justify which ones are... I don't get it. I really don't. I don't understand how they're going to justify or figure out how it's balanced, if you get me. If you play everybody home and away, so if you get your groups and you play your 3 teams home and away, it balances itself out. But if you have half your games at home, half your games away, but they're all against different opposition, which is the way the new Champions League format is going to be, I don't get it. It seems very... Like, I get what they're trying to do. They want you to have a completely new group experience where you play a lot of different teams and thus giving you, I guess, a bigger flavour of European football. I can understand that to an extent, but I don't understand how they balance it out, to make it fair for everyone. Mr. Buffer said, love you, Craig. Thank you. You're very kind, mate. Did you see Mr. Beast looks like he's getting a $100 million deal with Amazon Prime for a TV show? I think I mentioned it last night. Honestly, he's one of the dudes on this planet I totally do root for all the time. I love Jimmy. I think he's brilliant. Connor introduced me to Mr. Beast stuff about 4 years ago. And I've kind of watched them develop more over that time as well. He's such a dude. And if ever there was somebody who deserves those mega bucks for whatever he wants to use it for, because we know he likes to, he's very philanthropic with his money and his videos. So I hope it goes through. The piece that I read said the first episode would be on his YouTube channel, and then the other episodes will go to Prime Video after that. But it's apparently close to being finalised. Would you give Morton a chance next season? Well, he's done well at Hull. So, and I also say the memories I have of Tyler Morton when he has played for the first team, I've always thought he's looked okay and balanced. I don't know is the answer, but that's more on me than him, if you get me. Like, there's every possibility he could do a job for Liverpool, but if Bajcetic comes back and Endo's playing well and McAllister's there, will he push into a number 8 position? Will he get many chances there? I'd be doubtful about his ability to nail down a starting position at Liverpool, but if he was part of a squad, I think he could do a job. I think he could get minutes, do a job in certain competitions. Would that stunt his development? I don't know. But he certainly is doing well at Hull, definitely. And that goal he scored against, I can't remember who it was. He lost a 2-1 goal at the end of it. It was kind of a nothing goal, but a good finish. Yeah, always been pretty calm about Tyler Morton, because he looks like he will have a good pro career ahead of him somewhere. Craig doesn't care for anime. I don't. Not that I don't care for it. I respect the art form. I very much do. It's just not something I've ever gotten into. But I do respect. I love that type of colourful, over-the-top art. Yeah, it's just I don't really have much of an imagination, and you usually need an imagination to kind of immerse yourself in those kind of things. I've never been into like fantasy, sci-fi, any of that stuff, but definitely respect the art form. What's your score prediction for the Chelsea-Middlesbrough game? 2-0 Chelsea, I think. I have a feeling it could go past regulation time, though. Depends how long Middlesbrough can keep them at bay for. They do kind of have to do it in patches. If you're Carrick and you're having your team talking with your team in that dressing room before you go out onto the pitch, you're saying to them, get through the first 10 minutes, get through the first 15 minutes. and just go as long as you can. Be compact, nothing silly, no mistakes. But don't go out there and play with fear. But just, keep the first 10, 15 minutes, keep it tight, don't give anything away. Hope that the frustration inside Stamford Bridge grows and try and feed off that. That's probably what you'd be saying in the dressing room. They've put themselves in a good position, Middlesbrough. Like ourselves, they know if they keep a clean sheet, they're in the final. And that's what I'd be reminding that Middlesbrough team if I was Michael Carrick. Not that, he wouldn't be doing that anyway, but it's an interesting one. Onana dropped. I'm saying nothing. Yeah, saying nothing. Onana on the bench. Onana. I don't see Chelsea winning personally. I can see a lot of missed chances as usual, get caught on the counter, maybe a 1-1. Look, Middlesbrough are there by merit. They're no fools. They've earned the right to be in this position. They won at the Riverside in the first leg. So they have to be taken seriously and respected. They deserve that 100%. Same way, if we got them in the final, I wouldn't be thinking it's going to be a walkover. I'd be favouring us because, let's be honest, we should be. But, yeah, fair play. Michael Carrick's doing a good job there and has the makings of a very good coach. Inter sold Onana and got a better goalkeeper, Jan Sommer, who cost about 6 mil. Yeah, but Jan Sommer's shite as well. Let's be frank. He's not very good. But, yeah, it's crazy. United just love overpaying for people. And Onana, case in point, they hounded David De Gea and sent him out packing to spend money on another disciple. Is that what we're calling them still? Of Ten Lasso. Borough will win against Chelsea, said Coach Bill. They need to soften Chelsea before the Anfield game. That's very well thought of. Extra time all the way, drag it as long as possible. Oh, did you see? I was watching on Sky Sports last night, and I was kind of chuckled to myself a little bit, and I immediately thought about you guys in the chat. So there was a piece on Sky that said Chelsea have so far received no offers or no interest in anybody to sign Armando Broja for the £50 million that they've asked for. And then they went on to say he scored like 2 goals or something. I was like, well, there's your answer. Stop asking 50 million quid because you've shit the bed financially and think that these ridiculously over-the-top numbers apply to everybody. That's why you're not getting any takers for Broja 50 million, because he ain't worth 50 million. He's probably not worth half of that, in all honesty. Because people want goal scorers, and he hasn't really proven at the top level yet to be a goal scorer. Now, there's something like, I'm not sitting here saying Broja's crap. He's not. Broja has something about him. But you're not getting 50 million for him just because he's registered for Chelsea. That's I'm glad that the people aren't giving these owners the stupid money some of them are asking for. I'm Team Carrick for the first time in my life to Liverpool fans and Craig Fairbrother. So I've always thought Carrick's a decent fella, to be fair. Even in the United days or the Spurs days, I've never really disliked Michael Carrick at all. You can see Michael Carrick's a proper footballing guy who genuinely immersed in the game, knows his stuff. I hold Michael Carrick as a footballer and as a coach in pretty high regard. He was, very, very, very good player for a very long time. Probably one of the most underappreciated English players to have come through the Premier League in the last 15, 20 years. Like, he was always top level. Very, very good footballer. Do I rate James McConnell? I'm still getting to grips with some of the youth players that are coming through, mate. I'd like a bigger sample size to see them over a longer time on the pitch. I mean, usually when we're seeing McConnell and the likes, they're getting 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there. And he would be one I would struggle. Him and Scanlon would be 2 names I would really struggle to say that I've really gauged their levels yet. But that's on me, not them, to be fair. Whereas with the likes of Bobby Clark and a few of the others, we've a bit more of a sample size of them, and I feel a bit more confident to speak about what I've seen there. Bayern Munich have sent a bid of around 15 million to Newcastle for Kieran Trippier. Deal now in Newcastle's hands. So even this makes me laugh, Mark. One day it's like Newcastle have no interest in discussing any deal for Kieran Trippier or any deal for Callum Wilson. So just no interest. And then the next day, no joke, headline, Newcastle named their price for Kieran Trippier and it's between 11 and 15 million euro. It's like, so who's doing the leaking and lies now? Because one day it doesn't matter, no interest. Next day, 15 million euro and he's yours. It's just the lies that go on in the industry, lads. It's just hilarious. Like, and I don't mean the journalistic industry. I mean just the football world in general. Like we get told something even though the facts show us something completely different. Of course, Newcastle are going to sell a 33-year-old who's looking very, very tired from a lot of football for 15 million quid if they get the chance, because it's good business. The interesting one though for me was Callum Wilson linked to AC Milan. If I'm Callum Wilson, honestly, I'm probably taking up that opportunity if Newcastle would be up for the sale. You know, because that's what they're struggling for at AC Milan at the minute. Like, you look, they had, obviously, Origi at one point, didn't get the goals. You've got Giroud, who's a bit of a mixed bag there. So, if I'm Callum Wilson, I'd be licking my lips at that opportunity. Go over, live in Milan, play footy over there. And, because let's be honest, he's kind of on the periphery of the Newcastle team. He's in and out, you know. So, if I was him, I'd be interested in that one. I think he'd really thrive over there. Because he's certainly got the... He puts himself about Callum Wilson, you know, because we know Italian defenders are very good and it's a physical way that they defend. I think Callum Wilson would thrive in that environment. I think they'd be the type of defenders that Callum Wilson feel he could get the better of, you know, would suit his style of play. What do you make of Jayden Danns in the academy? Don't know anything about him, Cole. Sorry, mate. Is he the guy who scored a hat-trick the other day? Because I've seen somebody scored a hat-trick in the 7-1 whooping of Arsenal. Was that the guy? Paul Tierney's ref in the Chelsea match. Unbelievable. I know. But where's the pushback from the media about this? Like, I'd love to see James Pearce, David Ornstein, Paul Joyce, Chris Bascom, Quiva O'Neill, I guess the lads from the Echo as well. I'd love to see them all write pieces to question, not because I think they're not doing their job, because I think we're better in numbers as the Liverpool family of, I guess, media, content creators, whatever you want to call it all. I'd like to see a pushback from all of us. So in an ideal world for me, you'd have the Anfield Wrap, Redmen TV, Coppish, ourselves, the Echo, Joyce, Bascom, Quiva O'Neill, Pearce, Ornstein maybe. All these people come together and start going, nah, this is bullshit. Somebody needs to really look at this and think, why is it happening again and again and again? And why is it that we're not getting anywhere near the average amount of decisions other top sixes are getting from Tierney, but we're getting an adverse amount of games to be officiated by Tierney? Look, the stats don't lie. I know people love to say that we're all tinfoil hat merchants, but I've said it before. Read the Paul Tompkins article on Paul Tierney, and if after that you still don't believe that we're being hard done by, is the most, I guess the fairest way I could say it, you know, it's shocking. And I'd love everyone to just push back on it. Because I've no doubt that the lads at Redmen or the lads at the Anfield Wrap or the lads at the Echo or any Liverpool fans, the lads at Coppish, I've no doubt everybody's feeling the same. You know, despite competitive differences or whatever, ultimately we're all Liverpool fans. We all want the same thing, fairness, and Liverpool to do well. So, I mean, I guess if I could make a plea to everyone, it would be, can we get something going here, lads? You know, can we all use our platforms and start to ask why on earth this is really happening to us? Because, as I said, it kind of feels like that Mourinho at United situation to me, where the PGMOL are almost daring at this, but they're almost saying to us, do something about it. We've got the power here. We can do what we want. You just have to sit there and take it. But we don't. And we shouldn't have to. Especially when we've got the mountain of data to show that we're not just lunatics obsessing about this. There's a valid reason for the frustration. Who would you prioritise, a centre back or a CDM in the summer? It's a good question. I don't think I can answer it properly until we see an end to the Bajcetic situation. So if Stefan, let's say, in a month's time comes back, finishes the season, plays games, shows no ill effects of the injury, doesn't look like it's going to be an ongoing thing, Endo continues at the level he's at, then I'd probably say centre back. It would be the priority. I'm probably leaning to centre back being the priority anyway, but for right now, you know, if we have another body in Stefan between McAllister, him, and Watoro, I think we'd be okay there. But look, ultimately it'll fall down to Jurgen. Whatever positions he thinks that we need to dip into the market for, I guess we'll do it. But let me say this. I'm very happy that the academy players that have been given opportunities recently have really, in my opinion, grasped them. So I'm also okay with looking at how these players are progressing, and for the first time ever, I'm actually calm, particularly about this month over the transfer window. Usually I'm hounding John, saying where's the money and all this stuff, but I can understand this window being the way it is, and I can understand Liverpool not looking to just do business for the sake of it. So Dave Powell has said Liverpool owners Fenway Sports Group are in talks over creating a fly-on-the-wall documentary at Anfield. I mean, I'd love it. I don't know how Jurgen would feel about it, but look, I'm a Liverpool fan. You're all Liverpool fans. Let's be honest, we're all hungry for Liverpool content. And if Liverpool made a behind-the-scenes covering fly-on-the-wall documentary, I'd buy it. I'd certainly pay whatever platform it's on to watch it. Definitely, 100%. I would love to see we all love the match day vlogs and stuff like. So yeah, the more content we can get, the better. That'd be brilliant. And I think it would definitely get watched a lot anyway. You know, so if Kloppo was okay with it, I'd be excited about that project. In all honesty. Can I be the fly on the wall, though? I won't say it, and I promise. Ghana football players needed police to help exit the bus. They said they won't do anything to them. We want to ask them some questions. Police said not today. So, I agree with that. All of it. A group of agitated football fans waiting for the team bus and the coach, and after the coach has already been set upon by a fan at the hotel. I understand the caution. I'm not saying that the Ghanaian FA football team, or maybe the fans, believe that they're not getting enough out of the players, you know, but ultimately when feelings are high and anger's at its top level, it's probably not the time for that conversation. You know, let things calm down over a few days and then address it when everyone's got a bit more of a calm head on them. Jurgen has such a presence on screen, it would be amazing. Yeah, look, I'd just love to see the inner workings, as I'm sure you guys would as well. Yeah, look, that's genuinely excited me. I hope this is something that gets done, because I think we'd all love it, right? Love to see a fly on the wall documentary about Liverpool. Certainly, that makes up for the being Liverpool nonsense with Brendan Rodgers and his David Brent. I've got three names, and 3 players are going to let us down. All right there, dickhead. Stop. That was cringy. If you could get any Liverpool figure at the club, past or present, to be on the show, who would it be? So, I've thought about this a while ago, Chaddy, and the answer to the question would be, my first priority would be to make sure whoever it was that I could get to come on for a conversation is going to speak openly and honestly and not toe the company line. So who would I bring on? Immediately, I think John Aldridge, because I admire John Aldridge a lot as a player, I admire John Aldridge as a fella. I admire John Aldridge, obviously, for a whole host of ways. But I feel like John Aldridge always, he gives you what you want to hear. And by that I mean he doesn't hold back. He's honest. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. And I like him. So someone said John Barnes. I had the opportunity to interview him, but I turned it down, in all honesty. But yeah, I think Aldridge. Who else do I think would give a good insight? I feel like I'd like to interview Carragher. I've been critical of him over certain things, but genuinely I wouldn't mind speaking with him. The present guys, none of them. Because I know that this, I'm not going to get the conversation I want. So none of the present guys, not because I don't like any of them, I'd love to chat with Robbo, but they're all media trained within an inch of their life, and there's going to be subjects they couldn't talk about, and that's understandable, which is why I've never kind of leant into that side of it or looked for those interviews. Not that I get them, but it doesn't interest me. Pepe Reina. I wouldn't mind a conversation with Pepe Reina. I'd have a few questions around Pepe Reina. Rafael Benitez. I'd love a conversation with Rafael Benitez. I bought tickets and went to see a night with Rafael Benitez in Dublin a few years back in the Burgosh Theatre, and it was a great night. Very good technical insight. Hearing Rafa talk about situations at the Champions League final in Athens and hotel rooms and all this other stuff. It was, yeah. So there is a few. But I'd want them to be able to speak freely and not hold back. Jose Enrique. Jose Enrique is the biggest fucking hanger-on I've ever seen in my life. Jose Enrique, and let me say this, I'm glad he's healthy and well. Sincerely. I find him the most cringy hanger-onerer. I don't get it. I don't. He's just not my cup of tea. Lucas Leiva, yes. Connor said Lucas Leiva. Yeah, but I'd actually be really nervous interviewing Lucas Leiva because I genuinely hold him in such high esteem. But yeah, I'd love to interview Lucas Leiva. Yeah, I have nothing but respect for him, as you know. Dirk Kuyt would be interesting as well, yeah. Dirk Kuyt would be a good chat. Mulby would be great. See, the reason I didn't say Jan Mulby is I know Jan Mulby does stuff with, or used to at least do stuff with Anfield Index. So I feel like he probably will have said at some point what I would have been asking him anyway. And again, I've nothing but respect for the guys at Anfield Index. I started my little journey there, so I just remember that he was doing stuff with them. I don't know if he still does it with them, but so that's why I held off, because yeah, he would have been one of the ones I would have thought of as well. What have we got? We need more players. This new Champions League schedule is going to be hectic. That's 8 more games in the current format in the initial stage. No, it's 2 more games in the current format in the initial stage, mate. 2. So it used to be we have a group of 4, play 6 games. Now it's the big group and you play 8 games. So, I don't really think we need that many more players for it, in all honesty. Yeah, just might need to look at how the schedule looked for the League Cup games and stuff like that. No Stevie G. I feel like if I interviewed Steven Gerrard, it would get very dark very quickly. Because I'd immediately be pressing on the Saudi stuff. But how do I say this? I don't know how everybody else feels about Steven Gerrard taking the job in Saudi, but I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I'm not as angry about it as some others, because on one side I kind of get it. There's probably not a lot of jobs for him at the moment, certainly in English football. So maybe, I don't know, maybe he's done it for the money. Maybe, I don't know why he's done it, but I don't really care, because I can understand there's not much there for him at the minute. So I don't really judge him on that. You know, he didn't profess to be anything, or, you know, I don't feel like he's pulled the wool over anybody's eyes. I've got my own thoughts on the whole thing, but ultimately I don't really hold much ill feeling towards Steven Gerrard about that stuff, if any. So, again, to be all honest, I think there would be better people than me to interview Steven Gerrard that would be able to conduct the interview a lot better than I would. So I've got to be honest about that. I feel like somebody else will be better suited. There are players I feel like Aldridge, I feel like I'd be a natural fit for. But Stevie G, I think, yeah, maybe leave that to somebody a bit more qualified than me for an in-depth interview on. He has a family to feed. Oh, I get that, but fuck off at the same time. Do you know what I mean? This bullshit of these fuckers have families to feed. I have a family to feed. You have a family to feed. Multi millionaires have enough money to feed that family for a very long time. So let's not try to make that the conversation here. Do you know, that doesn't wash. I like money. I want more money. No problem. Go over there, get your pay, you be you. But I'd like that honesty. Like, I really would love to hear Gerrard go, it's the money. The money's great. It's sunny. I'm getting paid a load of dosh. The tax rate is very minimal, if anything. Grand. Happy days. We all like money, you know. But this they have a family to feed argument is just absolute bullshit. They're not sitting at home worrying about the electricity bill. You know, let's be honest. Craig, you as a former goalkeeper, how do you rank Ray Clements? So I never got a chance to see Ray Clements play. So I always caveat my conversations with that. But from the people that I've spoke to that did watch Ray Clements play, I mean, one of the best ever. You know, certainly anybody that was around in that era or, you know, watched nothing but good things. You know, you only ever hear glowing references of Ray Clements. So you know, before my time, but seemingly outstanding. Do you still speak to James Pearce? I know you had him on back in the day. Honestly, we always found that when we did some stuff with journalists, it never added anything to the channel. It never drove more traffic. It never like tipped us over the top with views or anything. So we kind of just stopped doing it because I looked at it this way, and I think, you know, I'm very harsh on myself. But I honestly looked at it and I thought, why would James Pearce or Fabrizio Romano or Paul Joyce or David Ornstein, they're not going to give me the crown jewels of news, are they? They're not going to give it to a fan channel. They're not going to give it. They're really going to keep it for the establishment they work for, or they're going to do it for themselves on their own vlogs or blogs. And that's absolutely common sense. I do the very same in their position. So I always felt like, well, we're just getting on people then to just rehash stuff they've said elsewhere. I've never really seen the point of it for that reason. Because why would they give out the big breaks? It just feels like whenever you see a fan channel talking to a journalist, they're just pretty much rehashing the same news that they've already spoke about elsewhere. And it never gave us much benefit. So that's kind of why we moved away from it. I don't know if you think that's the wrong thought process or not, but yeah, that's always been the way I've thought of it. Especially when people are paying them, by the way. So James Pearce has always been brilliant with fan channels and podcasts. Amazing. Always given up time. Always made himself available. Always been professional. I could not speak more highly of James Pearce. A gent of a man. An absolute gentleman. But, you know, also he has a job and he has his family to look after and he's got to keep the big stories for those that pay his wages, and that's absolutely understandable. We'd all do it. So that's the point for me, is why would I waste your money on these things? Is it true about Rudiger? Don't know. I've seen the link. I very much doubt Liverpool are... Because before he went to Real Madrid, our name was being touted with Rudiger as well when he was at Chelsea. I just feel like we're being used to try and leverage a better deal for him at Real. Joyce, Ornstein or Fabrizio would bring traffic to any channel in my opinion. I don't know if Paul Joyce has done much stuff with fan channels, so can't really answer on that one. Ornstein, I could most likely get David Ornstein on because I have a point of contact. And Fabrizio, I would rather stick pins in my eyes than have a conversation with Romano about anything. I find him very greasy. I don't like him. I don't like what he is. I don't like it. I don't see what point and purpose he serves. And let me explain that a bit more. So with other journalists, there's journalism involved. I don't see, like, Paul Joyce writes articles, James Pearce writes articles, David Ornstein writes articles. I just look at Fabrizio Romano as a telltale, a tattler, a shit stirrer, a problem. And then when I seen he did the interview with the guy from the Super League, that just solidified my view of him as being a greasy, slimy problem for football, rather than somebody who adds to football. So I have a different take on Fabrizio Romano to many other people. I think he's a puppet that manipulates situations or is manipulated to give a narrative in situations around transfers by people who have vested interests in wanting certain amounts of information to be put out in a certain way. I don't see what good he brings to the game of football. And that's how I differentiate him from other journalists. He's very, very on the money. He's very good at what he does in that niche that he's absolutely carved out for himself and is probably the transfer guy. But I want to know, why he's the transfer guy. Why is information clubs... Who's giving him the information? Who's ratting on the clubs? Who's doing the briefing? I find it all very fucking greasy, if I'm being honest with you. And I don't understand what he brings to the game. Other than potential headaches for... I know, maybe I'm looking at it in a warped way, but I've struggled to put him in that bracket with other journalists. Eddie Cox-Wilkins, welcome to Anfield Agenda Ultras, mate. Thank you so much for your support. Love you to interview Howard Webb. Oh, please, yes. Oh, God, yes. Look, I know people think I'm a loudmouth, but I can taper it down in a professional setting when I need to. I would very much like to interview Howard Webb, and I would very much like to prepare for it and come prepared and ask him probing questions about information and subjects that we all want answers to. Not in a disrespectful way, not in a hate-filled way. Just genuine curiosity of a football fan who doesn't understand certain decisions or certain thought processes by the PGMOL. Because if nothing else, you know, surely removing the negativity or the doubt would strengthen their hand. If Howard, let's say, answered all these questions and I sat back and I went, fair enough, Howard, thank you for that. I see your perspective on it. Never thought about it like that. I genuinely approach these things with that mindset. I wouldn't be going in looking to attack anybody. I think that's just nonsense. The stream is quite long for a 4 o'clock stream. It is, because I'm not doing a 8:30 stream. So I wanted to stay on a bit longer just so we could talk about everything that anybody wanted to bring up. You know, I'm doing the watch along tonight for the Chelsea Middlesbrough game, so we won't have a half 8 stream. Would you rather Howard Webb or John Henry? Oh, I'd love an interview with John Henry. Absolutely. Genuinely, the cheeky part of me was going to try for when I'm in Boston to see if there's any way I could get an interview with him or Tom Burner. And again, it wouldn't be a gotcha type interview. I'd have some serious questions that I would appreciate some insight on, and I'm sure Liverpool fans would. Not at all an attacking thing, but I'd love it. I'd love to sit down with anybody from FSG for an interview while I'm in Boston. That would be epic. Any injury updates? Yes, loads of them, Tifa. Real quick before we finish up. So Trent Alexander-Arnold and Dominic Szoboszlai will be back for Norwich at the weekend. Szoboszlai may be back for tomorrow, but touch and go. Andy Robertson has been given the clearance to resume full contact training. That's from James Pearce. And Curtis Jones, there is no injury. It was just precautionary. And he trained okay, according to Pep Linders. So, good news on the injury updates, Tifa. Lorcan, thank you, mate. Appreciate your super sticker. So, David Ornstein has just put out that Newcastle have rejected the latest bid from Bayern Munich for Kieran Trippier. Proposal was for a permanent transfer worth €50 million. And they are adamant that he's staying. So, again, there you go. Information coming out there from Mr. Ornstein that Newcastle have rejected that bid from Bayern Munich. I seen Rory Jennings change his opinion on Darwin last month. He was saying he'll be just a squad, but yeah, I don't want to answer that. Thank you. I don't want to get into that conversation about Jennings or Boovy or any of those opinions because there's nothing good I'll bring to the conversation, so I'll leave it there. Right, look, my friends, much love as always. Hope to see you guys tonight at 7:30. We'll be on top of the league for the Chelsea-Middlesbrough game. And of course, tomorrow we'll be back here for second leg, Carabao Cup, semi-final away at Fulham, starting from 7 o'clock, our coverage right here. Do drop a like on the stream. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. News video coming out about 6 o'clock or so. So thank you, as always, for giving up your afternoon. Appreciate you all. Much love. I'll see you later on. Have a great day. Thank you.